Hi boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 1.6. This one's introducing math boxes. The materials that you'll need: notebook paper, your pencil, math journal, either 10 pennies or 10 counters, and 1 plate. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is go over math journal page 6. This is the page that we talked about in the previous lesson. So what you needed to do is just write the amounts on the line. If you notice that you have any mistakes, please fix those mistakes with your pencil and eraser. So when I looked at that first amount for number 1, I could see that I have 10, 20, 30, 31, $32. When I looked at number 2, I can see that I had two $10 bills for my 10, 20, and then a $1 bill. When I looked at number 3, I can see that I have 100, 200, and then I have $1 bills. So then I have 201, 202, and 203. When I look at number 4, I can see that I have 100, 200, 300, 310, 320, and then 321, 322, 323, 324, and lastly 325. Then for the try this at the bottom, they were kind of in a different order. So I like to start with those $100 bills. So I can see I have 100, 200, 300, and then I'm going to find my $10 bills. So 310, 320, 330, 340, and then I'll go to my $1 bills, 341, 342, 343. If you have any questions about this page, you can ask your classroom teacher, or you can rewind the video a bit and watch me count them again. The next thing we're going to do is we'll put our math journal to the side and we'll take out our whiteboard and marker if available, or notebook paper. If the speed is ever too fast, please pause as often as needed. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to write all the one-digit numbers that you can think of. All the one-digit numbers. And then think about how many are there. So press pause and then play when you're ready to hear the answer. So boys and girls, there are 10 one-digit numbers. And if you said 9, you maybe forgot about 0, but you should have had your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, can you write down two two-digit numbers? So just for an example, like I could write down the number 21 and 75. You can pick whichever numbers you want, but can you write down two two-digit numbers? And then circle the larger number. Press pause and then play when you're ready to talk about it. Okay, second graders, so the two numbers that I wrote down the number 35 and 72. You probably had completely different numbers than I did, and that's okay. Now I know that 72 is bigger than 35, so that's why I circled 72. If you want more practice with that, you can pause and you can practice writing more two-digit numbers and circling the larger one. Now there's one more thing I want you to do. I want you to write down two three-digit numbers. Now a three-digit number might be a number like 275 or 139. So write down two three-digit numbers. Using those numbers, can you circle the digit that's in the ones place for both of your numbers? Can you put an X on the digit in the hundreds place with both of your numbers? I'll show you what my numbers look like. So I have the numbers 459 and 327. And then I needed to circle the digit in the ones place. So notice how I circled the 9. and then I needed to put an X on the digit in the hundreds place. I chose to just put an X above the 4. And then I did the same thing for 327. I circled the digit in the 7, or I circled the digit in the ones place, which was my 7, and then I put an X either on or above my digit in my hundreds place. All right, second graders. The next thing that you'll need is your pennies and your plate. If you don't have those right now, you can watch me, and then after the video, you could get those materials. So what I would like you to do is count the pennies on top of the plate. So how many pennies do you see? Maybe say that number out loud. So if you saw that there were 7 pennies, that was correct. Now knowing that there's 7 pennies on top, how many pennies are underneath the plate? And I'm going to tell you that we started with 10 pennies. So we started with 10, there's 7 on top. How many are under? I'm going to move my plate so you can see. Count them. If you said 3, that's correct. And this is how we know. We know that 10 minus 7 is equal to 3, or 7 plus 3 more is equal to 10. Let's try another one. This time I have 2 pennies on top of the plate. So boys and girls, can you write down on your whiteboard how many pennies are under my plate? So again, we know that there was 2 on top. If you said that there were 8 pennies under my plate, you are correct. We know this because 10 minus 2 is equal to 8, or 2 plus 8 is equal to 10. We'll try one more like this. How many pennies are on top of the plate? You can say that number out loud. Okay, so knowing that there's 4 pennies on top of the plate, how many pennies are under the plate? Again, we know that there's 4 on top. And so underneath the plate, there should be 6. Let's check. There they are. 6 pennies are under the plate. We know this because 10 minus 4 is equal to 6, or 4 plus 6 is equal to 10. Boys and girls, at the end of the lesson, you could play a few more rounds of penny plate with someone at home or with someone at school. We're going to talk about one more thing. So if you could take out your math journal and open to page 7. This is the first day that we're talking about math boxes this year. So I want to talk about each of the questions with you. Then I'm going to ask that you complete the page on your own. When you're all done, take a picture and add the picture to CSAP for your classroom teacher, and then we'll go over the page in the next video. So boys and girls, looking at number 1, fill in the missing number. And this takes us back to our first lesson where we were practicing sequencing. If you're having any trouble filling in the numbers, you could use that number grid if you have that handy. And when you're getting to the 147, you can almost just ignore the 100 for a moment and think about what number comes right before 47. And then you could plug in your 100. For question number 2, you need to circle the tens digit in the number 437. Then in the number 18, you're going to circle the ones digit. And then in the number 206, circle the hundreds digit. For question number 3, how likely is it that our class will go on a field trip today? So the word certain means it will happen. Likely means it probably will happen. Unlikely means it probably won't happen. Impossible means there is no way that we could even go on a field trip. So I want you to circle which is the best choice. For question number 4, could you tell me what today's day is? So the month, you could either write it out in words or abbreviation, or you could also put the number. I'm going to help you out with just this first number. So if it's September and I start and I want to figure out what number month that is, I could think, okay, January is number 1, and then count on February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. September is our 9th month of the year. So I'm going to show my month with a 9. Then could you take a look at the calendar and write down what number a day it is? And also write down the year. And you can either write all 4 numbers for the year, or you could just write the last 2 numbers of our year. Then I want you to think about in 1 week from today. So you want to look at that calendar again, find today, and then find that date 1 row down, 1 week from it, and write that date on there. Fill in the circle next to the name of the shape. So is this called a triangle, a rectangle, or a pentagon? And lastly, for number 6, I want you to write down 2 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. All right, second graders, I will see you in our next video. Bye.